So Devi, we have this wild food walk scheduled for September 1st in Coimbatore, where we've invited Shruti Tarel from Thrissur. Right?
Forgotten Greens.
She's
Forgotten Greens is her Instagram handle. She's an expert on identifying wild greens, edible wild greens.
And we had done this wild food walk last year sometime, again in August sometime. So talk a little about that, why that's important and what we learned from it last year and what are you looking forward this year.
So this wild food walk, which Shruti leads, I mean she does it in different cities. So we've been friends with Shruti and we had done it last year, which was a great success. What she does is help identify edible and medicinal greens from plants which are growing in our neighborhoods, in and around our gardens, which are uncultivated. So these are plants which we think are weeds and we pluck them from our garden. And in our neighborhoods now, instead of even manually plucking them, what is happening is people are using Roundup, a deadly weedicide, to eliminate it. And how do we know they're using it, the weedicide? You will see that when you're just taking a walk in our neighborhood, as both of us saw, in front of a couple of, in the other street, the whole sidewalk where the weeds are, they are all brown. The plants are completely, dead. So this is a classic sign that Roundup has been sprayed. Roundup is a cancer-causing weedicide, or it is carcinogenic. Maybe I cannot even call it. It's a carcinogenic weedicide. It has a lot of negative side effects, and currently there are multiple litigations going on in the US about the ill effects. And we in India have generously started using it. Not only in the farms but also in our urban neighborhoods. So in that context, what Shruti is doing is particularly relevant, because what we call as weeds are not our enemies. They are plants we don't cultivate, but these are plants which are naturally occurring, and many of them have benefits which were known traditionally, which were known in older times, and some of them can be used as food, some can be used for some kind of poultices or putting on your skin, and some can be used along with medicinal preparations. The key is to know what to use for what, because on the flip side, without knowing it, we shouldn't go and use something and get ourselves poisoned or erupt into rashes or something like that. So the wild food walk, what we expect is to get some, we may not know the most involved uses of certain things, but at least basic things. Is there a plant which we can rub on our skin when we have an insect bite? Or is there a plant which can go into our water, like we have jeera water? Similarly, is there some greens that we can put into water with ginger and pepper and have it while we have a cold? Or are there a bunch of greens that we can chop up and have as a poriyal or thoran? Or something which can be added in small quantity to our chutney. So that is what we hope to learn from the wild food walk. And Shruti has actually,
Let me just tell about what we did last year, because I distinctly remember it was very nice. We had identified an organic farm very close to where we live in Coimbatore. And Shruti had come over from Thrissur. We had invited our local families who buy from us regularly. So they had come around. 40 odd people had turned up on a Sunday morning. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. And all of us gathered at this organic farm. And Shruti then walked all of us, of course, after the pleasantries and introductions and all that. She walked us through the organic farm where other things were growing. And one by one, she was picking up these plants, explaining not only the scientific name of that plant, but also where it is used, what is the traditional story behind it, how it was used in various dishes and things like that. And there was obviously a lot of oohs and ahs there, because people were, some of them, some preparations, some plants were familiar, people were familiar with them, but some were completely new, and that was what we did. So that lasted for about almost 2 hours. And then of course after that we had kanji and what was it, moong ka kanji,
moong
and moong, and along with that kanji we had.
Yeah, we were also planning to have some greens cooked, but by then people were so hungry that nobody had the time. So people took some of the greens home. Actually, whatever they had picked, many of the people had taken some of the greens home to be used.
Right.
So we are hoping that this time we can, hold people enough to even cook a sample of the greens.
That's going to be difficult.
Yeah, but then we may be able to do a little bit of it if we do the walk early and close it before the sun becomes too hot. But this is becoming increasingly relevant, I feel, because with climate change, vegetable growing is becoming tougher and tougher.
Yeah, so I remember asking her, okay, this is good for people who are living near farms and all that, and she said no, it is not like that. Even in Bangalore, where she used to live at and she does these wild food walks in Bangalore also, and she would just walk on the streets, and there are things which are growing here and there which are edible greens.
Just now, 2 days back, she put a collab post with our Raktashali rice kanji. She did Pattila Thoran, that is 10 kinds of leaves for the Karkadagam. She went into a public park in Chennai and sourced these, just plucked these leaves. Right. So all of you, there everywhere.
Yeah, so all those of you who are interested in knowing more, just follow Forgotten Greens.
Yes.
Forgotten Greens on Instagram. And we hope to we will hold that session on September 1st, which is a Sunday.
Yes.
And we will also be posting that, so do follow us on Instagram and see how that shapes up. It's something that all of us need to remember. I think I just will add to what Devi said about this Roundup use. I walk my 2 dogs every day, and I'm very particular about avoiding them getting closer to any of those spaces where these things have been grown. And it's very distinct because for some, so let's say 10 to 20 meters, you have completely brown field, effectively brown grass out there, is dead. And then you have all the green, the regular greens, and that actually tells you that the person who was sprayed the Roundup there didn't have too much money or didn't want to spend all that money on, thankfully, didn't want to spray it on all the greens there. So, and they're just protecting the areas next to their houses.
They're not protecting, they're actually poisoning their own neighborhood. Yeah. How can they be protecting?
That's what they're thinking, but they're poisoning.
So maybe what we should do is we should click a video of the Roundup patch versus the normal patch to showcase this. And we should put something on Instagram about this.
Right.
Because this is a thing of concern, because all of us others are also affected, because during the rains this whole Roundup is going to get mixed in the water and be evenly spread over the neighborhood.
It will go into the bore wells, which most of us here in small towns are using.
And also into the drain, the canals which feed the lakes.
Right.
So it's becoming a big menace.
All right. On that positive note, we'll wind up here. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you're enjoying the family room. Please do share feedback. It'll be really nice to hear more of you engaging with us. Bye.